Good morning, everyone. What I have here is the PinePhone, and I recently got a really neat accessory for it, and that is this thing. This thing here is the keyboard case for the PinePhone, and also apparently the PinePhone Pro. The way this works is really neat. So if we go ahead and open up this PinePhone, pull the back of the phone off, if I can find the right corner. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and open up this PinePhone. We've got this set of pogo pins right here that allow a case to electrically interface with the phone. And then what this is it's not just like a external phone case. It actually replaces the default phone back. So if I go ahead and put in the PinePhone here, we'll line up the pogo pins with the pogo pins here. Just pop that in. Then I'll just make sure it's in there real good. I had some problems with the pogo pins not connecting if I don't get that to pop in with that squeeze right there. But once I have that in there, we have this thing that looks like an old style PDA. And I can go ahead and boot up the phone. And while this phone is booting, I'll talk a little bit about the functionality of this case. So we've got a not full size, but all the letters QWERTY keyboard with a number row, and with the function key we can get a bunch of other keys that are not directly available here. The other thing that's in here is a battery. So you can see there's a USB-C port on this thing, and if we charge this thing with that USB-C port, it's charging the battery in the keyboard, which then is going to go ahead and through the pogo pins charge the battery in the phone. The battery in the keyboard is around the same size as the battery in the phone, maybe a little bit bigger, and so this should have the effect of doubling battery life. One thing to note is that when this thing is hooked up to the keyboard case, we don't want to use the USB port directly on the phone, because the way this is hooked up to charge the battery, that'll be electrically dangerous and could break stuff. At least that's what I've heard. So here we are, and the software that I have installed on the PinePhone here is SXMO, or Simple X Mobile, which is a really neat desktop environment. It is a tiling window manager, which actually makes a lot of sense on a phone, although it does mean that pretty much everything that we're going to have to do is with touch gestures. So let me see if I can get this to rotate and then bring up the menu and then start an app, because the thing that I actually want to show here is the keyboard. So if I go ahead and open up some junk editor, we can go ahead and type on the keyboard. And that's not great typing speed. The keyboard itself isn't great. It's not like some sort of fancy mechanical keyboard, but it is significantly better than an on-screen keyboard, and also has the additional side effect that the keyboard isn't taking up space on the screen, so we get the entire screen to work with. So that's really cool. I'm gonna have to spend some more time playing with this, especially with the Simple X Mobile user interface on it. But I think it's really cool. Oh, and while I was messing around with this, I did get a chance to test the PinePhone again on a mobile network. I put a Verizon SIM in, and the PinePhone is working pretty well at this point. It'll do voice calls. The other person can hear you great. You can hear them kind of. The incoming audio quality is still bad. I don't know whether I would call it usable or not, but it's close to usable. Text messages work fine. Mobile data works fine. And so this is almost usable as a phone. I think I'll probably hang on to my Android phone for a little while longer as my primary phone. But this thing may end up making it into my pocket, because this is a nice little Linux laptop effectively here that might be useful for all kinds of stuff. Another great feature of this keyboard case on the PinePhone is that it conclusively wins the thickness competition for a phone. If I go ahead and close this up and put it up like this, next to an example relatively thick phone, the Librem 5 here, the PinePhone is definitely the chunkier phone. And we all know that with phones, bigger is definitely better. So thanks for taking a look at this video. Go ahead and check in the text box, the description box below the video, for a link to the associated blog post, and have a wonderful rest of your day.